Welcome to the Health Daily Show. I'm your host, Chitra Nabat. Joining us today is Aashima Gupta, Global Director of Healthcare Solutions, Google Cloud. Aashima, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me here, Chitra.
Aashima, tell us about the Healthcare Solutions business at Google Cloud. What is it? What do you guys really do?
It's a great question. So I'll take a step back. You know Google as a consumer company, and our mission from a Google perspective is to help make wealth information, make it accessible and useful. Simple mission. Now, if I turn that for the enterprise, so cloud is all about enterprise and help them make their data accessible and useful. So we work with payers, providers, life sciences companies, and helping give them tools to make the data accessible and useful. When you say accessible, that means API, standard-based. When you mean useful, that means applying AI machine learning. So we see our role as enabler from technology perspective to help the ecosystem in their journeys wherever they're under transformation imperatives.
There are a lot of companies out there, large tech, some of your competitors, or companies like, for example, Salesforce. There are startups and digital health companies out there, hundreds, thousands, many at this conference, who use similar words. It can be very confusing for whether it's the payer, provider, pharmaceutical company, very confusing for the healthcare buyer in terms of who does what. So if you can make it even more tangible for us, where do you begin, where do you stop, and who do you work with?
So I'll make it very simple. I'll talk in terms of food. I'm foodie. So imagine a 3-layered cake. It has 3 layers. The bottom layer is the infrastructure layer. So Google Cloud has built tools for several years with right security, with the HIPAA compliance, and all the infrastructure, servers, storage, network. That's the infrastructure layer that we provide, and that's the base of the cake. In the middle is when Thomas Kurian got into Google, we got focused on a few industries. Healthcare is one of them. And the middle layer of the cake is where we're building industry-specific solutions. One example is Healthcare Data Engine. So I come from Kaiser Permanente, and one thing I'll tell you, we all talk about data being fragmented in different formats. So from a patient perspective, if they went to an inpatient, an urgent care, or an outpatient, oftentimes they are serviced by different EHRs. So you don't get the longitudinal patient record, and longitudinal care is not possible without the longitudinal record. So our Healthcare Data Engine was pretty much inspired by that thought. Can we help with the grunt work of ingesting the data from different formats to HL7? We ingest that. We then convert it in FHIR, which is a data standard very well recognized in the industry, be it CSV, and we reconcile it, we harmonize it, and we create that longitudinal record on cloud. Now, that means that that's a middle layer, right? So we started with the base infrastructure. Middle is the platform, which is now harmonized, normalized, longitudinal patient record. And it is important to also know the longitudinal patient record means our health story, Chitra, is yet to be written. And it's not just an EMR. It's what we eat, where we live, what our lifestyle is. So not all data lives in EMR. So enriching the data that you're extracting from those different systems with these additional data sources, cloud is the only way. I'm very strongly believing in that. And then we get to the top layer, which is the icing on the cake, where we invite ecosystem partners. So there are many startups, there are 100+ startups that we work with. And if you're a payer or provider, you get the full stack. You work with our partners. So yesterday we announced our partnership with Highmark and League. So League is the kind of top layer, Highmark is the customer, the middle layer is the Healthcare Data Engine, and it runs on Google Cloud. So if you think in terms of an ecosystem and working in harmony, it will require many different parties working together. Healthcare is too complex for one company to do it. So we have big technology, or big tech has a role to play. We believe we have world-class security. We recently announced our acquisition of Mandiant, like cybersecurity. So we are investing deeply on the infrastructure layer. We are investing deeply into the industry-specific products. Another example there is NLP, medically tuned. So healthcare data has two issues, to say it very simply. One, it is fragmented in different silos, and in getting that normalized is one. The second is the data that is accessible is actually not that useful because it's unstructured. It's in the notes, it's in the PDF, it's in the faxes. So oftentimes when our customers come to us, they're looking into wealth of information that is still hidden in the notes. So when we talk about health equity, if there's no data structure, but if notes capture that I'm a single mother, I don't have a ride, or I'm having food insecurity, often that is in a conversation between a physician and a patient. So all the data is buried into the clinical notes.
So if I'm a CIO of a payer provider, and let's just talk about a provider, for example, all of this, frankly, can sound or seem pretty overwhelming. And what I mean by that is the healthcare industry, especially providers, right? Macroeconomic headwinds, depressed to negative margins, rising costs of labor. I've got limited IT spend. I've got to think about what do I need to pay my Epic partner? What do I need to pay Google? What do I need to pay these digital health startups that are going to all help me aggregate my data, standardize it, populate my clinician workflows, or help me build clinician workflows, help me build patient workflows. And I want to get more ROI out of my existing investments. Where do I have budget to really go deep with you? And if I'm going to do that, where is it worth my while in a very big way, where it's going to drive meaningful, tangible, quantifiable returns?
That's a great question. So stepping back, when our customers engage with us, it's never a vendor and a client relationship. It's always a strategic partnership, which is often 8 to 10 years partnership. Because any transformation is not a siloed effort, it's a multi-year effort. And what you've seen work is they first start with that infrastructure layer that I talked about, building the data foundation, then building high impact use cases, and then figuring out where they need to be 3 to 5 years from now. So when they work with us, it's a two-pronged strategy, Chitra. One is present forward, future back. Like, what do I need to do today? So to answer your question, for them to spend on innovation budget, they are looking into cloud as, can they run certain operation efficiently? And if they do, can those savings fund some of the innovation? And we have seen that pattern kind of play out, where there's tremendous opportunity for AI and machine learning in the back office, to the boring, mundane, hard to scale problems. And you've seen when you touch on the operational levers, the financial levers, and help them run an operation efficiently, those savings can then be funneled into innovation, forward thinking, a little bit more futuristic projects. So there's always that balance from a portfolio perspective, and it's important to have the portfolio look. Like, you're transforming, it's 10 years journey, and having the portfolio look approach, meaning you'll be doing something now on the data which you will be creating that foundation. Second is, as I said, use cases, and then savings from those efficiency use cases, and then figuring out innovation. And they look into, like, there are 3-4 priorities that they work with us. One is digitally enabled care. We also in pandemic, and it is no longer digitization of audiovisual, like we are doing that, like with using Google Meet. It is about, can I have a meaningful connection with the patient through the care continuum? And as the care will be tied to people, not places, they would need those experiences to be jointed, and you cannot have the unified experience if you don't have the unified data layer. So when you talk about a lot of ecosystem partners, they need the unified data layer.
How will this Epic partnership, how is this going to be meaningful to healthcare customers that you serve? And how will this partnership help you go after more customers in the healthcare industry to grow your revenue contribution to the larger Google Cloud and Google revenue pie?
Yeah, a great question. So healthcare require ecosystem work in harmony. EHRs are critical piece of that ecosystem, and they are in some ways underappreciated for their workflow. They manage their workflow very well. They've been running for decades. I've used Epic when I was in Kaiser. So we are excited about the partnership. So I'll give you from the context of a customer. So this is where our values are very aligned. What is the problem you're trying to solve for the customer? And it's not just two vendors coming together and saying, look, there's an agreement. So Where it works is, so Hackensack is moving the workloads of Epic to Google Cloud. Three reasons. Number one is innovation. They have Epic workflows. They've been working with Epic. They love it from the workflow perspective. However, they think there's an opportunity to interject more AI intelligence into the clinical workflow. So that Epic will be the system of record, and cloud will become a system of intelligence to harness the data, understand the insight, understand the patterns, trends, and then interject it back to the workflow. And if you think in the US, what has happened is past 10 years, 94% of health systems have digitized. I was at the tail end at Kaiser when we were doing the last Epic migration, and it's just pretty daunting process, and they already have done it. But in the process, imagine, Chitra, we have massive digital health repository. Millions, hundreds of millions of patients is available. Billions of data points, what medication works for what population, who's at risk for what disease. All that information is not yet harnessed for care delivery. I think that's the opportunity. So that's where Hackensack sees that can we harness that data, understand the pattern to predict, prevent, and intervene. Predict meaning, is the past data telling me something about prediction? Can I learn from it and predict? Can I prevent? Because we all talk about wellness. And then intervene, can I intervention at the right time, at the right moment? So that's one reason. The second is security. Google Cloud has leading security, so they're looking into can they leverage Google scale security for their Epic deployment. That's the second reason. Third is efficiencies. So healthcare IT is very complex. There are multiple systems built by multiple different vendors. So this will give them an opportunity where Epic is on Google Cloud and all the engine of innovation will be BigQuery or our Google Vertex, which is and machine learning ops, all in the same infrastructure. So they're excited about having that simplicity in their infrastructure. So those three reasons. And we'll continue to see that pattern play out where we are working with the ecosystem. So I'll go back to the three-layer cake again. The base layer is, in this case, system of records, EHR, system of intelligence, cloud vendors. System of engagement are the startup and the ecosystem kind of working in the harmony.
Aashima, let's talk a little bit about leadership. In life, career, business, there are rules, codes, norms, and how things are done. Where have you been a code breaker in career, your life journey, and how did you do it?
All the time, Chitra. I think it's the hallmark of leadership. You always challenge the status quo. You kind of have to. And so I've done that in multiple stages. As a leader, as we are looking into both, as we're building teams, as we're looking into where the industry is heading 5 to 7 years from now, you are going to be the change agent. And change agent means breaking the rules, going out of your comfort zone, taking chances, and I've done that in all my roles where I moved from Kaiser to a startup. So like it's a big change, and then from startup to coming to Google, and then in Google, which is a very consumer-based company, having a focus on enterprise, it's been quite a journey, and I'm very grateful for all the stops along the way.
Aashima, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Chitra, for having me. Really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.